It is also my pleasure to formally present to you two new ministers who have joined the Ministry of Finance to work with me and management to carry out the mandate of the Ministry of managing the economy of our country on behalf of the President of the Republic. The first is a record maker, first ever woman or female Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance. That is Honorable Abna Asare. She's earned it, she deserves it. She was the longest Deputy Minister for Finance in this ministry. And so to be promoted by the President to Minister of State, first of its kind, is deserving, and we must acknowledge that. Following Honorable Abna is Honorable Dr. Alex Ampavin, who is Deputy Minister for Finance. Honorable Alex and I share a lot in common. We both work in the CSO space. We both done work in the area of taxes, resource taxation. He's a fiscal tax expert, and so he's bringing a lot of knowledge and value to the work of the Ministry of Finance. So Honorable Alex Ampavin, Dr. Alex Ampavin, is Deputy Minister for Finance. And indeed, Honorable Abna Asare drew my attention this morning that because you are all doctors, I have to find a way to also become a doctor. The second Deputy Minister who is not with us, is traveled for official duty, is Honorable Dr. Stephen Amwa, MP for Insha. He is also well known to me. We've known each other from the youth of the party. We did things together in the past in TESCON and other party-related activities. And so the chemistry is there. We're going to work closely together to deliver on our mandate. The Chief Director of the Ministry of Finance, the indefatigable Eva Mens, the directors and staff of the Ministry of Finance, and of course, our media friends, my brothers and sisters from the media community. I acknowledge you and I thank you for your hard work, for the great work you are doing for our country. But for you, there will not be government, because government is about the governed and those who are governing, right? And you constitute a very important link between the two sides of the equation. And this is why we will continue to cherish and appreciate the work you are doing. And we are ever ready to support you in these efforts to ensure that you do your work and do it professionally and also successfully for the benefit of our country. But having said all this, I am very delighted to be with you once again to update you on the economy through the monthly press briefing we instituted in March 2024 as part of measures to enhance transparency and accountability in our economic management. In today's briefing, we'll update you on the implementation of the IMF-supported PCPEC, the progress made towards completing the external debt restructuring program, and the status of implementation of the SME Growth and Opportunity Program, a new initiative the Ministry is pursuing. We will also take the opportunity to provide an update on the performance of the economy for the first quarter of this year. In the first edition of this series, which was presented on 26 March 2024, I indicated that as part of measures to pursue an inclusive approach to economic management, we will institute, among others, a joint economic roundtable with the academia to discuss topical economic issues. and to bring the expertise of academia to bear on policy making. A Ghana Development Forum to bring various stakeholders together to discuss and build consensus on key interventions such as the IMF program and the debt restructuring program, among others. Then a monthly update on the state of the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to inform you that we have made significant progress in these inclusive initiatives. The monthly press briefing on the economy has now come to stay, as this is the third of such updates. We have begun work on the Joint Economic Roundtable with the University of Ghana and have adopted a concept note for the roundtable. We have also drafted an MOU on the subject to be signed by the parties shortly. We have programmed our first roundtable to take place in June 2024. We also have programmed to hold the Ghana Development Forum in July 2024. Others have proposed that we call it the National Economic Summit. We are discussing what name we will use eventually. But what is important is that it will be a platform, a great platform, to bring all stakeholders in the management of our economy. We sit here, but we do not claim monopoly over the ideas, all the ideas that we need to manage our economy. And therefore, we'll provide that platform to build consensus on some of the major policies we are implementing as a government. Ladies and gentlemen, you recall that in my first monthly press update to you on 26th March 2024, I indicated again that one of the priorities of government for the rest of 2024 and beyond is to stay the course on the implementation of the IMF program. I also notified you that Ghana will be hosting an IMF mission from the 2nd to the 12th of April 2024 to undertake the second review of the program, following the approval of the program in May 2023 and the completion of the first review of the program in January 2024, both of which resulted in a total disbursement of $1.2 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, the second review mission by the IMF staff was successfully concluded on 13th April 2024, enabling Ghana to reach a staff-level agreement on the second review with the IMF staff. With the staff-level agreement now secured, it is expected that the executive board of the fund will sit on Ghana's second review for consideration and approval sometime in June to unlock the third tranche of $360 million, which will bring the total disbursements to $1.56 billion United States dollars. The second review mission, which was conducted, would end December 2023 as the test date, was based on key performance indicators, including 6 quantitative performance criteria, 3 indicative targets, and 1 structural benchmark that were due at the end of December 2023, as well as 4 structural benchmarks due at the end of March 2024. The fund assessed Ghana's performance under the second review as very strong, as most of the quantitative performance criteria and the indicative targets adjudged by the fund staff were met. In addition, Ghana satisfied all 5 but 1 structural benchmark due by end December 2023 and end March 2024. The assessment also shows great strides in our social protection interventions to mitigate the cost of adjustment on the poor and the vulnerable. What this means in simple language, ladies and gentlemen, is that at the end of 2023, we achieved the following targets under the program, subject to the approval of the IMF Executive Board in June. Minimum net international reserves, cumulative change of $988.2 million, 0 central bank borrowing, a ceiling cumulative of 4.3 billion Ghana cedis for the primary deficit on commitment basis, 0 accumulation of external debt payments, a non-concessional borrowing limit of $66.2 million in present value terms, and zero collateralized borrowing by the central government and state-owned enterprises. In addition, at the end of December 2023, Ghana achieved the following indicative targets: a minimum of 114.19 billion Ghana cedis for non-oil public revenue, and a minimum of 4.07 billion Ghana cedis in social spending. Reforms. We've expanded the gift mix infrastructure to include over 280 IGF reliant institutions. We've published on PURC's website the final report of the first quarterly audit on ECG's single account. The Bank of Ghana and the Ministry of Finance have designed and will soon begin the implementation of a credible, comprehensive, and cost-effective plan that seeks to address NIB's challenges, the National Investment Bank. And we've developed a centralized inventory of all ongoing and planned public investment projects that have been approved by Cabinet. Ladies and gentlemen, the positive results of the first and second review of the implementation of the IMF program testify that we are achieving the program's objective of restoring macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability, building resilience through the implementation of strong and wide-ranging structural reforms, and laying the foundations for stronger and more inclusive growth, whilst protecting the poor and the vulnerable. We are now seeing signs of macro stability and economic recovery, and I am confident to say that the recovery has been strong. It has been strong, and we will pursue all the policies that are necessary to sustain the gains we have made. This is exemplified by the following data I wish to provide. Growth turned out to be more resilient and robust in 2023 than initially programmed, as GDP grew by 2.9% compared to the original projection of 1.5% and the revised projection of 2.3%. We expect growth to continue its upward trajectory to average 5% in the medium term as we implement our growth strategy under the PCPEG, supported by the revival of Ghana's industrialization drive, modernization of agriculture with a focus on value addition to create economic and employment opportunities, as well as SME growth and financing. Inflation is declining. Headline inflation declined by 31 percentage points from 54.1% at the end of 2022 to 23.2% at the end of December 2023. This was before inflation inched up slightly to 25.8% in March 2024, due largely to base effect, but we have seen it trending downward again. The downward trend is expected to continue over the medium-term horizon, with inflation returning to the target band of 8 plus or minus 2% by 2025. This will be largely achieved because of the fiscal consolidation efforts of government, tight monetary policy, exchange rate stability, as well as improved food production, local food production. Gross international reserves is also improving and now stands at $6.2 billion, covering 2.7 months of import cover at the end of February 2024, compared to 5.9 billion in the corresponding period of 2022. Gross international reserve is expected to improve to cover at least 4.4 months of import cover in the medium term, to be supported by external inflows from the IMF, the World Bank, and other development partners. The government's gold for oil program, the BOG's gold for reserve program, as well as the cocoa syndicated funds. But for recent pressures we are seeing on the exchange rate movement, ladies and gentlemen, the exchange rate has been largely stabilized over some time, with the depreciation of the cedi against the US dollar halving from 54.2% at the end of November 2022 to 27.8% at the end of December 2023. The cedi stability has continued into 2024 with a cumulative depreciation of 14.2% as of May 20th, 2024, compared to 20.7% recorded in the same period in 2023. And therefore, people may see the cedi depreciating fast recently. If you compare the depreciation year to date, from January to date, the cedi has depreciated by about 14.2%. Same time last year, it depreciated by 20.7%. So on that, comparative basis, we are safe to conclude that the cedi is still strong, very strong. We expect the stability to improve into the medium term as we complete debt restructuring, as we make progress on fiscal consolidation, and as we improve on our reserves over the medium term. The recent pressures on the cedi that I have referred to are largely as a result of the strengthening of the US dollar against major trading currencies across the world, including ours. And therefore, we expect that as the US currency also moderates in its strength, the effect will be felt on our currency. Another reason is the seasonal forex demand, including elevated demand from corporate institutions. Then also, we have paid contractors. I want to say that the complaints of no money and no money and no money, we don't hear that anymore, because we have paid and paid contractors. As of now, year to date, I think we've spent some 49 billion Ghana cedis. Same time last year, we did 41 billion Ghana cedis. And so this demonstrates that a lot of liquidity, cedi liquidity, is in the market. And we have seen some people looking for US dollars to buy with the cedis that we have put out there. And so these are some of the reasons, including the payments to IPPs, independent power producers. You will recall that we started negotiating with them, as a result of which we had to make a bullet payment, one-off payment, amounting to some 400 million United States dollars. And so they all put pressure on the cedi. But also, what is known to all of us, the common reason is speculation. So much speculation out there. And we need people to know that this speculation is not helping us. It's not helping the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Finance will continue to work with the Bank of Ghana to implement measures to address the rapid depreciation of the cedi. And some of the measures that we have already put in place, and I was told this morning that we are already seeing the results of the effect of this policies and measures we have put in place. So we are fast-tracking the fiscal consolidation process through rationalizing spending and enhancing revenue mobilization, intensification of the gold for oil program, and appropriate FX interventions by the Bank of Ghana. We are also intensifying through the Bank of Ghana the gold for the reserve program. what they also call the gold purchases program. The disbursement of the third tranche under the IMF program, which we are expecting in June, is also going to support the building of foreign exchange reserves, and also disbursement from other ongoing projects, including the $150 million facility, World Bank facility, which Parliament approved last week, Friday, will all come in to support the reserves. We're also expecting the disbursement of $300 million United States dollars under the World Bank Development Policy Operation 2, possibly in the third quarter of this year, and disbursement of $200 million to Ghana Exim Bank and Ghana Commercial Bank, GCB, by EBIT, ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, later in the year. And, of course, again, what is known to us, the expected 2024-2025 cocoa syndication proceeds in the fourth quarter of this year. They will all crystallize and come together to support the build-up of the reserves in order to strengthen the cedi as well as support the budget in the implementation. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in all, we're expecting total disbursements of $2.32 billion US dollars before the end of the year, to add to the significant foreign exchange reserves already built up by the Bank of Ghana. And on this basis, I wish to assure the Ghanaian people that there is enough foreign exchange supply in the market. Hence, there is no need to rush to buy forex. There is enough foreign exchange on the market, and we will continue to ensure that the supply is sustained, if not even increased. Ladies and gentlemen, the fiscal consolidation program is holding. As primary balance on commitment basis improved by about 4%, deficit of 0.3% of GDP at the end of 2023. Preliminary fiscal data for first quarter of this year showed that the primary balance on commitment was a deficit of 0.6% of GDP against the deficit target of 0.2% of GDP, largely on the back of delays in the implementation of some of the 2024 revenue measures approved for the 2024 budget. We plan to fast-track revenue mobilization in subsequent to enable us to achieve our primary balance target of a surplus of 0.5% in 2024 and 1.5% of GDP in the 2025-2028 period. In addition, we are working to restore debt sustainability by 2028. The public debt trajectory is already showing signs of improvement, as the debt to GDP ratio reduced to 71.4% of GDP at the end of 2023 from 73.5% of GDP at the end of 2022. We have also strengthened our social protection interventions to ensure that the poor and the most vulnerable are protected from the impact of the economic difficulties and adjustment. We've doubled, for example, the benefits under the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program. And we've done this 2 years in a row. We've also indexed the program, the LEAP benefits, to inflation, so that the effect of inflation does not wipe off the benefits the LEAP delivers to our people. We have also increased the benefit under the Ghana School Feeding program by 25%. And we have also increased allocation to the National Health Insurance Scheme by more than 40%. In addition to this, we have increased the allocation to the capitation grant by 25% to support basic education. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we implement the fiscal consolidation, we have not forgotten of the poor and the vulnerable. Ours is to promote inclusive growth. And this is demonstrated by the increasing spending that we are seeing in these social actions for our people. As part of the implementation of the PCPEC, ladies and gentlemen, Cabinet has approved the plan for restructuring and recapitalization of the National Investment Bank. This will require a program projection of about 2.3 billion Ghana cedis. And this will be done over the next 12 months. The first tranche of 400 million Ghana cedis is expected to be transferred to the National Investment Bank before the end of this month, May 2024. And this demonstrates our commitment to implementing the recapitalization and restructuring program for NIB. The plan also includes measures to strengthen the governance structure. Government has intervened in NIB in the past, and therefore this time around, this intervention, the capital intervention, is going to be backed by governance reforms in NIB in order to assure us and the people of Ghana that their money, your money that we are putting into NIB will be managed and managed well. Some of the governance reforms will include strengthening the structure and operational efficiency of the bank, enhance supervision, and also to improve risk management to sustain the financial viability of the bank. We will continue to implement strong and ambitious structural reforms in other areas of public resource or public financial management, including tax policy, revenue administration, and other relevant reforms that will support the structural strengthening of our economy, as well as helping to address structural weaknesses and to enhance our resilience to shocks. Ladies and gentlemen, we are making remarkable progress towards restoration of macroeconomic stability and economic recovery. And we are not going to relent. In spite of the fiscal pressures, including security spending to maintain peace and order, we are determined to hold the line to ensure that we meet our fiscal targets for the year. We will not hesitate to make any necessary adjustment that will ensure that we do not deviate from the fiscal path. Now let me give you updates on the debt restructuring. You may recall that we successfully concluded the domestic debt exchange program in 2023, following the launch of the government's comprehensive debt restructuring operation in December 2022. We are now at the final stages of completing the external debt restructuring program as well. Since the debt restructuring program began, government financing sources have been limited to treasury bills. Market participants have, however, raised concerns about the relatively high rates of T-bills compared to the pre-DDEP interest rates. But I want to assure them on two fronts. We have successfully paid 2 bullet coupons, each of about 6 billion Ghana cedis for the domestic DDEP. And we want to assure the market, come August 2024, the third coupon will also be honored. We will continue to honor our obligations and on time. I want to give the market this assurance. The second assurance is that lower portfolio risk with regard to the average weighted interest rate, which we have achieved under the DD program, is one of the strongest features of the program. The pre-DDEP weighted average interest rate was around 21%. This has, however, reduced by 7.5 percentage points to around 13.5%. And this we achieved on account of a relatively small weight of the short-term instruments in the entire public debt portfolio. Let me even add a third assurance. We are all seeing signs of economic stabilization emerging, and the government, as I have already enumerated, has made significant progress in stabilizing the macroeconomy on the back of increasing growth, improved primary and fiscal balance, declining interest rates and inflation, albeit some instability in the exchange rate arising mainly from seasonal factors and the strengthening of the dollar, as I indicated earlier. We are therefore confident of locking in these positive gains in the near term with a further reduction in these key economic aggregates to improve domestic market sentiments post-DDEP. And so, for market participants, this is our assurance to you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may further recall, we also launched two external debt operations: the official bilateral creditors debt restructuring and the commercial creditors debt restructuring. In December 2022, Ghana requested for debt treatment under the G20 framework. This framework was first adopted in 2020 as one of the most important decisions by the G20, in principle, with the committee. This, as we have reported over and over, will deliver significant debt relief to our country. But I'm happy, ladies and gentlemen, to announce that we have moved beyond agreement in principle. As of yesterday, 3rd May 2024, we officially received the draft memorandum of understanding from the official creditor committee. The government, therefore, with support from our financial and legal advisors, will quickly review this draft agreement with a view to finalizing and signing the agreement with the OCC as soon as possible. And so for all of those who have been waiting, and as of, I believe last week, I read from the front pages, of some of our media houses, indicating that Ghana received the draft MOU. I can imagine your anticipation. And so I'm happy to say that we have now formally received the draft MOU. And we are going to work harder and quickly to round up the negotiation and sign the MOU. Ladies and gentlemen, we have, in a very constructive manner, also made significant and good progress on our Euro bond holders. It is important to note that we are operating under a complex set of constraints as part of the IMF debt sustainability thresholds, and this formed the context and basis of discussions for a mutual understanding of the financial parameters with our Euro bond holders. We've held several rounds of negotiations on proposals and counter-proposals on the Eurobond treatment. This led to a series of restrictive discussions for about 3 weeks, just before the IMF spring meetings, which ended successfully on the 15th of April 2024. At the end of these discussions, we ended with very narrow differences between our position and those of the bondholders. But let me assure you that considerable progress is being made towards a constructive solution that will be acceptable to all parties. It is for this reason that we are rather confident and more optimistic that we can continue to work together on solutions that would deliver an acceptable compromise for all stakeholders, both the government party and the bondholders. We are determined to reach an agreement with our bondholders and our commercial creditors as well on terms that are consistent with the IMF program parameters, and we will put all our efforts towards attaining that objective in the coming weeks. Let me now touch on SME growth and opportunity program. Ladies and gentlemen, as it stands, SMEs in Ghana account for 92% of existing companies, 85% of manufacturing jobs, and 70% of GDP. Within that context, our small and medium enterprises represent a significant opportunity for providing growth and employment that is sustainable, inclusive, and impactful. In fact, I've seen data that suggests that 80% of employment in Ghana are created by SMEs. With that in mind, the SME Growth and Opportunity Program is being designed to consolidate ongoing SME support programs and offer better targeted support to a select number of companies that have the potential to transition from SMEs to large businesses under the SME Champions Initiative. The program will be coordinated by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Trade and Industry. The Ghana Enterprises Agency, Ghana Exim Bank, and Development Bank Ghana, which work with some other commercial banks, what we call the PFIs, will offer tailored technical and financial support to program beneficiaries. And I wish to announce also that as part of this program, we will soon roll out a nationwide training program for SMEs in basic accounting practices in order to improve on their credit worthiness, and also to assure the banks that the risk of lending to SMEs will be abated once the SMEs are given this capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, the program framework prioritizes targeted interventions, loan recovery, technical training and handling support for beneficiaries, as well as financing instruments such as loans, equity investments, and interest subsidies, which will all be provided through multifaceted funding sources so that we can reach our desired goal of creating SME champions over the near term. Stakeholder consultations on the program's design have begun in earnest, and we anticipate the SME Growth and Opportunity Program to be launched on the 16th of July 2024 at the National SME Summit, which will be addressed by His Excellency the President of the Republic. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to use this occasion to express our sincere thanks to the Almighty Allah for His continuous guidance and blessings on our path to economic recovery towards improving opportunities and prosperity for the people of Ghana. Our sincere appreciation also goes to His Excellency the President for his visionary leadership and direction. I would also like to recognize the instrumental role the IMF has played throughout this period, and also the World Bank as well as other development partners. The successful implementation of the IMF program so far, as well as other initiatives of government, including the debt restructuring program, would not have been possible without the collective efforts of all Ghanaians. And I'd like to mention in particular Parliament, civil society organizations, organized labor, faith-based organizations, employer associations, sector ministers, staff of various ministries, departments and agencies, financial sector players, the private sector players, and more importantly, you, the media community in our country. It is our that through our collective effort, we would deliver our common objective of restoring macro stability and debt sustainability and promote stronger and more inclusive growth whilst protecting the poor and the vulnerable. The medium term is bright, ladies and gentlemen, and we can all, as stakeholders, work together to continue to achieve the gains that we are making and put our economy on the path to sustained growth and development. We want to increase growth from the current 2.9% to 5% in the medium term. We want to reduce inflation from the current 25% to 8 plus or minus 2% by 2025. We want to improve the balance at the primary balance on commitment basis from a deficit of 0.3% of GDP in 2023 to a surplus of 1.5% by 2025. We want to increase the tax to GDP ratio from the current 14% to 18% in the medium term. We will fully restore debt sustainability by 2028. And we will continue to improve on gross international reserves to cover not less than 4.5 months of import cover in the medium term. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the medium term economic outlook is bright. It's bright. It is good. And we all must put our hands on deck. We all must continue to support the efforts of government. This is the government we have, and this is the country that we have. We cannot go anywhere else and find better opportunities for ourselves. We have to create these opportunities here for ourselves and for our children and grandchildren. And so I want to call on all of you, the people of Ghana, to stand behind our president, to stand behind our government, so that we go through this pain we have already experienced, but also we can rejoice at the emerging recovery of our economy, so that we can even become better in the near future as we and as we return the economy from the hardship that we have gone through to the era of better economic management and better economic results and better economic opportunities for our people. And so I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Honorable Minister, thank you so much for the insightful and inspiring presentation. And it's quite loaded, but for the benefit of our listeners and viewers who have joined us from home and from their
Can you start with
So I think my contribution in your statement, what you said was due to the fact, it's partly due to the payment made for contractors and the IPPs. Now, somewhere last week, the minority in parliament also made mention of the fact that one, it's due to the payment for treasury, and also they said it's unbiased. So I just want to get a response.
Due to what?
Payment for treasury bill, and also the payments are not being completed.
Okay, I believe the Honorable Minister will respond when we are done. Yes, okay. Echo your name and affiliation, please.
My name is Echo. I correspond from here. Honorable, you stated that the economy has performed better than anticipated, and you noted how you almost doubled the initial GDP target for 2023. Would that have any effect on the DSA that is being prepared by IMF? And better than anticipated will improve your chances of exploring the reform progress.
Thank you for the question, Echo. Okay. Yes. Minister, we are taking the last one just so that you can go for the vote. So we take the last question, please.
Graphic.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask.
Please name and affiliation, please.
Ivan Obrus Graphic. Updates on the implementation of the EVAT system by the GRA. The GRA has indicated that it intends to onboard about 600 businesses by June, and June is just some few weeks ago. So I want to find out if the minister has updates of how many businesses have been onboarded so far, and then why some major retail outlets are still yet to be onboarded on this EVAT system.
Thank you so much for the question. If you just joined this press briefing, we are live on GTV, Joy News, Asasi Radio, ABC News GH, and streaming on Facebook at Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Information. Honorable Minister.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for information. If I got the first question right, it was on the signing of the MOU with the OCCs. What does that mean for Ghana and maybe for Ghanaians? I mean, first of all, we know that a lot of projects, very important projects, have stalled as a result of the debt suspension. And following the declaration of the debt standstill, most of this, if not all, have not been disbursing towards projects. And so with the signing of the MOU, it signals officially an end to our negotiation with the official creditors. We will then immediately sign bilateral agreements with each of the OCC members, because they have different projects which they are funding in Ghana. But what it also means is that disbursement will start to flow in towards those projects, and we should see the contractors going back to site to continue with the projects. Some of the projects around the country include major road projects, and therefore, when you bring this negotiation to a close by the formal signing of the MOU, it means a resumption of activity on this stalled project. It also gives us some relief, what people will call time relief, in terms of the extension of the maturity, and therefore, money that we would have been using to service the debt could, in the meantime, go into financing other development projects. The second question on the city, we enumerated a number of factors accounting for the depreciation of the city. And one we said is the payments to contractors, which has increased city liquidity in the market. payment to IPPs as a result of the bullet we had to do following the negotiation we had with IPPs to ensure that they continue to supply power to the country. We've also talked about the strengthening of the US currency against major trading currencies. So there are a host of reasons responsible for this. Now you are quoting the minority as saying that it's as a result of payment for treasury bills which have not been budgeted for. If you understand budget has, I would say, three main sources of revenue: the taxes we collect, the grants we receive, but also financing, what we call financing. Financing means borrow, okay? And how much we borrow, how much financing we need for this year's budget has been captured in the budget. So anybody who has taken this budget knows that there is financing component of the budget and how much we are going to fund. How much is that? 40. How much is the financing for this year? 62 billion cedis is the financing. And you can borrow, and the only source of financing for now is treasury bills. So we are borrowing through treasury bills to address the financing component of the budget. And so anybody who says that maybe the person's understanding of the budget that we have been approving in Parliament is suspect. The next question is, the economy has performed better than anticipated. Will that have effect on the DSA? I know why you are asking this question. It's following the story you did last week. Yes, but I mean, I can tell you that yes, once the economy improves, your growth increases more than your target, and then other fundamentals of the economy are changing positively. It will definitely have effect on your DSA. But this can only be, how do I say, formally executed through a review of the DSA. Until that review, you certainly cannot go out and say that your DSA should be higher or lower. There are processes of reviewing the DSAs. And so that is what I can say on that. Your other question, whether it will improve on our chances with the bondholders, I'm not going to comment on that, because we are in negotiation, and I do not want to preempt some of the fundamental features of the negotiation. So I hope you understand me. The question on going to invite Honorable Minister of State to respond.
Thank you, Honorable.
But